Tuesday, I read an amazing story. Plane loses power. Dad, daughter, safe. And the person to talk about this amazing happening, whenever something occurs in aviation, he always nails it. When I told Rich about this story, he was so excited, and I'm sure he's going to do a great job. So let's have a round of applause for our aviation expert, Rich Kaplan.
Good evening, Long Island. Good evening, Long Beach Island Park, my hometown, Massapequa Park. And I want to send a special shout out to Rego Park, to my cousin David and Carol, who watch us on YouTube. I love you guys. Mazel tov. Anyway, let's fly. Our top story is a plane loses power over Long Island. Now, this is a big deal because obviously planes rely on power for lift. Without that power, we can't generate lift. We can't generate lift, we don't have laminar flow on the wings, and therefore the plane can't fly. What's remarkable is the airplane that was involved is not your typical airplane. And I'm going to explain everything. The Cirrus SR-22 is built in Minnesota by Cirrus Aviation. Now, I am no stranger to this airplane. I think it is one of the most amazing airplanes ever conceived on paper, and I'm going to explain why. It has what's called an auto recovery system, meaning if there is a cataclysmic malfunction, as in this case the plane lost power, two mini explosives go off in the rear of the airplane and a massive parachute comes out. The plane literally parachuted itself to safety. Because of this system, these two people are alive. Now, if you look back in your history books, you will remember a Yankee pitcher by the name of Corey Lidle. Corey was flying the same airplane. The only reason he could not deploy the parachute was because he was over New York airspace, and had the parachute deployed, the airplane would have wound up either landing in a crowded city area or it would have wreaked havoc. In this particular case, this airplane was coming from Rhode Island. It had two people on board who I hope to interview. They are from Wantagh. Pilot Louis Oberg and his daughter Rachel from Wantagh. Rachel's 17 years old. And your typical 17-year-old, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm flying this airplane, what's happening, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The reality is her father had the peace of mind to trigger the auto recovery system, and because of that, they wound it up in the parking lot of a business in Hauppauge. Now, mind you, Hauppauge is not far from Islip MacArthur. Now, you do the math, you're thinking to yourself, well, why didn't they try to make an emergency landing? Now, when you lose the engine, a lot of times, depending upon the way the engine dies in this airplane and the size of this airplane, conceivably you could glide, as in the case of Miracle on the Hudson Flight 1549, which was an Airbus A320. The A320 is so aerodynamic that because of its retractable landing gear, it has a very smooth drag coefficient. Now, for those who don't know these technical terms, I'm going to break it down for you just like I break everything down. Drag coefficient is a formula number that the industry uses to determine the aerodynamic principles of their products. For example, the Chevrolet Corvette, the C6, not the new one, the one before that, has a drag coefficient of 0.037. That's as aerodynamic as a flat pebble skipping across a stream. The same can be said with an airplane with retractable gear. Now, in the case of the Cirrus does not have retractable landing gear. It has fixed landing gear, tricycle gear. My theory is because of this, there wasn't enough drag where he could generate the kind of lift to limp the aircraft to Islip. Because of that, this plane wound up parachuting safely into a parking lot of a business in Hauppauge. It's a miracle. And I gotta tell you, I am very excited with the fact that Howie has made contact with the daughter of this pilot. I hope to speak to her, I hope to interview her, and to get a better view for you watching as to what happens in the cockpit of an aircraft. I've brought up in the past the term situational awareness. Situational awareness affects us in our daily lives. What it basically translates into, it's our cognitive awareness of what's around us. Let's say, for example, I am responsible for JetBlue Flight 179. Rocco Passafiumi is behind me in Delta Flight 479. His situational awareness is telling him that I'm flying a heavy A320. So he's going to keep about a 5 to 10 mile distance from me, because if he becomes any closer, he could fly into my wake. The same can be said in this instance. The father was aware of everything going on with the aircraft. The minute the engine sputtered, he had the peace of mind to take the stick, trigger the auto recovery system, and parachute the aircraft safely. At no time do I believe that this individual was not in communication with air traffic control. In fact, TRACON right in Westbury tracks every aircraft in the northeastern hemisphere of our zone, meaning every plane from Boston all the way down to about Washington, D.C. is tracked by this building. So if something goes wrong, they know immediately what to do. They trigger an emergency response, Suffolk County Police, aviation, the whole 9 yards. They know exactly what's going on. And that is why we had such a happy ending in this situation, in this story. That's also why we had such a happy ending with Miracle on the Hudson 1549. Now, on that note, I want to very quickly mention our matriarch, Howie, here informed me I will indeed be interviewing the air traffic controller of 1549. To say that I am honored is an understatement. There is not a hair on my head that is not standing straight, because this is a story that I believe is beyond inspirational. The fact that one man saved 168 people is, you can't put into words. I am really excited about that, and I'm very quickly excited to also report another piece of what is believed to be Malaysian Flight 370 may have been recovered off the coast of Mozambique. Now, for aviation enthusiasts like myself out there, this is a very important development. We're starting to get an idea of what may have happened to this airplane. And in the coming weeks, I personally am developing a theory on what happened to Malaysian 370. I will be discussing in detail in a special edition of Clear for Takeoff what I believe happened, how this will affect the future of commercial aviation operations here on Long Island, and more importantly, you, the general person flying on these airplanes, what you need to look for and what you need to look at. I will also be covering new topics, including how to save money on booking on flights. A lot of us love to travel. My friend discovered a loophole where she saved me, and I'm not joking, $150 on a trip. So believe me when I tell you, this is big. We have a lot of big developments coming in the coming weeks. I do hope you watch. I look forward to meeting this air traffic controller. And Thursday, we're going to be at Long Beach High School. I can promise you, if you think that this is interesting now, wait till you see what I'm bringing for the students of Long Beach. You guys are going to be beyond amazed. It's going to make Top Gun look like a movie that you saw in church. I'm telling you, you're not going to believe what I'm bringing. On that note, the skies above us are clear. We've just been cleared for takeoff. And I love you, David and Carol. Thank you so much. You inspire so much in me. I never talk about my family enough, so I just want to send a shout out to my cousin David and Carol. I love you with all my heart. Zagazund, Mazel Tov. I hope I'm saying it right, because my Yiddish is not exactly as good as my dad's. Have a great week.
Great job. Let's get up for Rich Kaplan.
Thank you.